It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
It's that time for a cup of coffee right here from Slumberland at the lake. I am Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.
And on this week's cup of coffee, we got some big local headlines. Did you hear about the potential? Saw online Facebook groups. That's the first place all news goes, right? About the Sycamore Creek Apartments off of Nichols. Looks like the contractors are pulling out or behind on payment potentially. I saw a lot of reports online, so I've talked with the developer Tegedoff. I've talked with Mayor Harmison. We're going to tell you about that. Saw a new proposed parking garage in the city of Lake Ozark, actually by Mayor Dennis Newberry. I kind of think might be a potential conflict of interest. Plus, we've got Dr. Sean Kirksey, superintendent from Camton Schools. He's going to talk with you in just a couple minutes about their upcoming Elegant Evening, something that we're looking pretty forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. They invited us. We're going to be over there. Sounds really great. We'll let you hear all about that because it's kind of a secret, right? You know, we're going to try to let that secret out.
Yeah, that plus election on the horizon. It's getting closer, April 2nd. So we're going to tell you all the things you need to know and tons happening. Not just around the lake, but right here on Lake TV. When we come back from this message from our friends at Slumberland, we'll be joined by Camton's Dr. Sean Kirksey.
Hey everybody, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. With the time change, daylight's lasting longer, you're going to be able to play outside, work outside a little bit longer, so when you come inside, you're going to want to rest. Come check out the great deals we have on recliners, sofas, and even beds to get that great night's sleep. Come check us out with sales in every room of the house. We deliver the entire lake area and interest-free financing for 36 months. Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
Welcome back to Cup of Coffee. As you see, we've been joined on set by Dr. Sean Kirksey. He is the head cheese, the big cheese, the big stud over there at Camden High School, all Camden schools, really,
Yes,
right?
yes, sir.
Superintendent of all the Camden schools. So we kind of saw each other at a basketball game a couple weeks ago, and you said, have you heard of our Elegant Evening coming up? And I'm like, never heard of it before in my life. Right? And so we thought we needed to talk about that, get that out a little bit. What is this Elegant Evening all about?
Yeah, Elegant Evening is part of our education foundation. It is their main fundraiser, about their only fundraiser other than donations. It is a great night. We have it hosted at the high school. And it basically is a great showcase of what the students at Camden do. And the proceeds of that then all go to benefit students through scholarships and in support of our students. So foundation was started over 20 years ago. This is our 20th Elegant Evening.
Wow.
It was started and nearly $500,000 has been given away over that time to students, either through scholarships or just support of their learning. And it really is, there's a huge art show as part of it. Our students produce art all year long, and then they display that throughout the whole school. So there's an art walk with it. It's amazing, the number of pieces of art, and just great. It's great to see just that part of it. Then there's a meal that's prepared by our culinary arts department.
Wow.
So our students are preparing a meal, which is phenomenal. And then the band plays and the choir sings, and there's actually a live art performance. Last year we had a painter, a student painting during the performance, during that evening, and also a sculptor doing pottery right in the middle of it. And we also that evening will induct 2 new members into the Hall of Leaders for our district, which is just a way to kind of like a Hall of Fame in the people department. This is like a Hall of Fame person, how much support they had for the school, and 2 very, very worthy nominees going in this year. We've got Ron Hendricks, who's a retired superintendent from Camden, who started the foundation.
Yeah,
and
he's the guy that started this all up.
He started the whole thing.
Wow.
And then there's also John Blair, who was a part of starting the foundation years ago too, and they're both getting inducted into the Hall of Leaders, and I can't think of 2 more fitting gentlemen to go in. They're both phenomenal and have given so much back to the school district. In fact, Mr. Hendricks has served on the foundation board as a volunteer longer than he was actually superintendent.
Wow.
So over 20 years on that foundation.
That
so
is amazing. And I think you were telling me you usually don't make a habit of inducting people who were there into the Hall of Fame, but
Yeah.
this year you have to because they're always there helping out and volunteering.
Yeah, we do not we do not usually nominate people that are a part of the foundation. It's kind of goes against a little nepotism there. But in this case, we don't want and can't get John and Ron to stop giving. They continually give. And so we're going to wait around for them to maybe step down, but then we don't want them to step down. So there's such an integral part of that and so helpful to the cause. We don't want to wait for them to step down. So the whole group unanimously was like, we're going to nominate them and get them in there because they've started it, they deserve it, and they're just so deserving, I think is a word.
Yeah.
The only people that didn't want to do it was them. I got in a little bit of
Because
trouble.
they're humble, right?
I got in a little bit of trouble with them for putting them in, but they are very deserving.
All right. So, and this is everybody invited? Anybody who wants to come?
Yeah, you can get tickets through calling Linda Lou, my secretary at the at Central Office, at 573-326-9213. Or you can just go to our website, and there'll be a link there that gets you to the foundation. You can purchase tickets that way. It is limited seating. It's April 19th. It begins at 5:30.
Okay.
And right there we're gonna in the Commons area. We're at Camton High School. They transformed that. It is a complete makeover into just a great, really elegant evening.
Yeah.
What it ends up being, and it's a great makeover there at Camton High School, So our foundation does a great job putting that on. It is a wonderful evening. I invited two couples who had never been to it to go with me last year, and they're like, "How did we not know about this?" And they will not miss it now. It is not an event you want to miss once you've been to it and you see it.
That is so
really
cool.
neat.
Okay, so again, that's April 19th, and is that a Friday night, I think?
That's Friday night.
Friday night, and at 5:30 the doors
5:30.
open?
Yeah,
or-
5:30 the doors open, and there's like a meet and greet, and there'll be appetizers, and you can walk around and look at the art walk. And then, about 45 minutes or so later, we'll sit down for dinner, and then there's the presentation of the two into the Hall of Leaders. Mr. Hendricks and Mr. Blair will go in. They'll do that, and then it's just a great evening of dinner, fellowship, visiting about it, and supporting kids. All those proceeds go. We've got a number of people who underwrite that, so all those proceeds go to kids. So every ticket you buy, 100% of it goes to kids.
That is so cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, that's April 19th. Doors open at 5:30. And a lot of people are scared off because they don't really know where to go. But this is just at the high school.
It's
and
the high school
you walk
Commons.
in the front door.
Yeah,
'cause
walk
it's
right in the
there
front door. It's
common
right there. Can't miss it. And like I said, it is we have a really nice high school commons. It's really nice. Mr. Hendricks, in fact, was the superintendent when it was built, and did a great job with it. But it's beautiful. Really, it's a beautiful space as is.
Yeah.
But once the art group gets in there, and they get our art teachers get to working on that, and our kids get to working on it, it just transforms into a beautiful place.
And my wife wanted me to ask, what is the attire? What does she wear? Is this like a dress-up thing? Or?
It's kind of a dress, business dress. I mean, I'll be wearing something similar to this.
You're always wearing a suit. You're always suited up, man.
Most ladies will wear a dress.
Okay.
We do have one. It's funny. Scotty Martin will probably wear hey dudes and shorts. That's just him. But most people are wearing a suit and tie. He can pull that off. But
Yeah, absolutely. Only Scotty can pull that off.
Only Scotty. He does it everywhere he goes, right? You can't expect him
Greatness.
to wear anything else. I love it about him.
Okay, so put that on your calendar.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
April 19th, 6 p.m., the elegant evening. Camdenton High School, and Dr. Kirksey will be there and shaking hands. And if you haven't met this guy yet, you got to do that because great guy. So, hey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
We'll be back with more of A Cup of Coffee right after this.
I'm Jessica Bruce with the Bruce & Kelly Real Estate Team. Today, we are here at this stunning estate located in the heart of Osage Beach. I'm going to give you all a sneak peek, a private tour of this estate. We also have Cole Bradbury, City Attorney for the City of Osage Beach, joining us today to talk about all the amazing development that's been happening in this past year, and what a year it's been. All that and more on this month's edition of the Monthly Market Update. Till next time.
Man, that has got to be one of the most likable guys.
Yeah, he is so, and I just met him for the first time maybe 6-8 months ago or something. And yeah, he is just a great guy all the way around. You want somebody like that running your school district, right? He's in the perfect place.
And how about what's transpired with that school district over the last couple of years, from their deficit to where they're at now, and the influx that they've had after not taking government money, and that came with stipulations and guidelines, and everybody was like, man, you didn't take that free money. Well, now look at Camden. Dr. Kirksey actually speaking at a national convention for district financing in the coming weeks because of that district. So pretty good stuff there. And I'd like to give a shout out to Kelsey Knight, who is the digital media specialist and coordinator for the District of Camden. She actually personally invited you, myself, and our wives to attend the Elegant Evening on April 19th.
Well, she didn't really invite the wives. She said a 1+. So, if you want to bring your girlfriend, you can, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you, Mrs. Uncle Chris, and Unique and I, we will be attending on April 19th. That's going to be a really cool event. And after hearing from Dr. Kirksey, I didn't really know about this event, and so I'm excited to get our first taste on what it's going to be like.
Yeah, me too. Right there in the commons of the high school, if you want to go look into it, you can go to the Camdenton website, get some more information, or you can call the school and they'll tell you about it. But there is a limited number of tickets, so it will be sold out at some point. But if you're interested in, they do a lot of stuff there. The kids are the ones that are the focus of the entertainment. The kids, the high school kids, have a jazz band that will perform speech performances, and they'll have a whole bunch of artwork out there that was done by the kids, and the kids are even cooking the meal. They have a culinary class there, so those kids are going to be doing all of that, and the money that's raised goes back into the programs to help these kids' programs.
And they unveiled their new Hall of Leaders, correct, which is distinguished alumni who have come through the District of Camdenton. So really looking forward to that. Now, as we move ahead in local headlines, a lot of local headlines, and the first one it is in regards to the Nichols Apartments, the Sycamore Creek project. We saw on Citizens for a Better Camden County, the Facebook group, there's been recent reports of contractors pulling out and not getting paid, and I couldn't get confirmation, but I believe the general contractor for the project is Thomas Construction. I reached out to Chad Nugent and didn't hear back from him. However, I did reach out to developer Jeff Tegethoff on Monday, and the reports I got, Chris, were that contractors hadn't received a payment since November of 2023. There was a concrete company that was owed $1.5 million, and that the property at Sycamore Creek, those apartments off Nichols, was gated off and work wouldn't be moving forward. Now, I will say Jeff Tegethoff was very responsive and quick to get back to me. He said, yes, there are some issues. We did make a payment Friday, and we're going to make another this week. He goes, it isn't uncommon for projects of this magnitude to get 60 to 90 days behind. And I know there is truth to that. However, he said that $2 million, that payment that was on Friday, is part of a clear draw process, and that payments for that are actually going to be sent out Monday on the 11th, which was a few days ago. It had to do with lien waivers being collected on the draw, and now weekly, starting with Monday, they're going to submit another one. That payments would then be submitted on the 18th, and so he says it's going to be a couple of weeks for us to get completely caught up, but we're working through that process, and so that's a little scary.
Yeah.
Because it means there is truth that there are the contractors and subcontractors not getting paid. And the numbers that I saw were hundreds of thousands and millions. And you see those figures shared by Jeff Tegethoff, about 2 million. There's going to be another 2 million. And the total that we found out was in close regards or close range, about 10 million. And so that's massive. And so to kind of break this down and put it in layman's terms, when you look at local contractors, right, let's use Lake TV, for instance. So we have a staff of 12. We do biweekly payroll. And so if we were relying on 600,000, a term we saw out there, which would be massive revenue for a company like us. But if we knew we had $500,000 going out the door on Monday, and so we needed that $600,000 to come in because there was no money in the bank. And so that was absolutely crucial to send that $500,000 out. So when the $600,000 isn't there, you still have the $500,000 people that need those checks. They got bills to pay. You've got dads that need to go do things with their kids. You've got mortgages. You've got bills that are due. And so for these local contractors and subcontractors, they're literally telling their staff, no, we can't pay you. There's no money. And so there is truth to this, and it is concerning. And so I reached out to Osage Beach Mayor Michael Harmison, and he was responsive and very open with me as far as I know. And he says, this is a very serious and concerning issue, and he has been made aware. He has been in contact with not only the contractors involved, but also developer Tegetthoff. He says, however, even with the concerns, he feels there are inner workings and is hopeful a solution is near. And a term that was thrown around is Mr. Tegetthoff and the developer and investors, they have to foot the initial $20 million of the initial development and breaking ground. And to my understanding, they're about $17 million in at this point. So about $3 million. And at that $20 million initially invested on your own accord, then the bank assistance would kick in, and they feel confident if they get to that $20 million plateau that everything would move forward. Now, as I said, I reached out to Thomas Construction and they did not get back with me, but I would think that's wise. If you're a big time vendor and you're waiting to get paid, you're probably not going to want to share that information in hopes to deter the debtor from paying the bill. And so I didn't get information from them, but I'm concerned. 17 million, you're 3 million shy, and I'm starting to see terms like lien waivers collected on the draw and things of that nature. And so there's a lot at stake here. Most importantly, I can feel empathy, Chris, for our local contractors, whether it's Thomas Construction or the subcontractors they've hired, plumbers, windows, concrete, lawn care and landscape, drywallers, electrical. All of those things go into it, HVAC crews. So if you're moving forward and you're saying yes on that $88,000 bid, yes on that $430,000 bid, yes on that $620,000 bid, those all seem good so long as the money's coming in. When it's not, you then have to communicate with your subcontractors, I can't pay you. To my understanding, what I found out, there is no qualms with the communication coming from Thomas Construction to their subcontractors. But these subcontractors still want to get paid, and Thomas Construction's on the hook for that, and they're looking at the developer, Jeff Tegetthoff, and saying, help us get through this. So although the mayor feels confident, he should be probably fairly optimistic because this is a lot riding as far as the city of Osage Beach is concerned.
Yeah.
Because, Chris, this is the first time in the history of the city of Osage Beach a Chapter 353 abatement was given. One of, if not the biggest tax incentive packages in the history of the city. And I reached out to Camden County Commissioner, Presiding Commissioner Ike Skelton, and he says, we've caught murmurings and it seems like there's absolutely delinquency on payment. We're trying to figure out a way to move forward to help our local contractors to the best of our ability within the bounds of the law. I reached out to Commissioner James Gohagan, and he rivaled and mimicked about the same thought. And so talking with Mayor Hermison, I said, well, this looks bad right now, right? So what's the best case scenario? That they're able to catch up, they're able to pay everybody, the project catches up and it moves forward, and there's just this little black eye for the time being on the project, right? But on the flip side, just we have to be realistic. What happens if we get 2, 3, 4 weeks down the road and the contractors and the subcontractors still have not been paid in full, and they do completely fall out? They have to file bankruptcy. They have no other options at that point in time. I straight out asked Mayor Hermison, I said, would there ever be a point where you lost faith in this project and you revoked the bonds on behalf of the city? And he was pretty hesitant and said, I don't really like to deal with hypotheticals, but that's ironic because all of the premise of this moving forward has all been on hypotheticals and things going a certain way, and it hasn't gone a certain way up to this point in time. And so I'm interested to see. Now, the one element that is good for the city of Osage Beach is in the redevelopment agreement, all of the reimbursements, all of the rebates, like tax-free materials, the no property tax, the TIF, CID, and TDD, that will all come at the end of the project. And to my understanding, that means contractors have to be paid, the sites have to be open, they have to be operational, and for them to get those rebates and reimbursements. And so the city would not be on the hook for all of those credits should this not come to fruition, but I'm still not sure that's enough protection and that's good enough considering we've got local businesses, big time players that are in this predicament. And you could argue that it is because of the way the city of Osage Beach rolled out the red carpet for this developer. Now, I hope this is concluded. I hope the contractors get paid. I hope everybody's happy in this move forward because just a few months ago, we were talking about the Lakewood condos. And then just a few weeks ago, we were talking with developer Jeff Tegetthoff and everything looked good. Well, we didn't exactly know that there were some serious issues financially behind the scenes. Not that a developer would want to share that information, but it was important information we weren't shared when we had him here a couple of weeks ago as far as his confidence in this project moving forward. So we liked him. We thought he was open, but he wasn't 100% open. He did keep details hidden that were crucial and important for this project moving forward, and this is where we're left. So from here, we find out over the next 2 to 3 weeks, Chris, what happens.
Yeah, we're kind of at where the rubber meets the road here, but this is all normal big business. This is everything that's happening right now for projects like this are very normal. Very, very rarely do you get a big project like this that doesn't have a hiccup of some sort exactly like this. And what the developer usually does is he goes and, gets some more financing and pays off the bills and gets things going again. I think Tegethoff also mentioned that he'd had a bunch of lumber stolen off one of his sites and stuff like that, so that he tried to make up for that. But everybody has a whole lot on the line. I mean, the city has a whole lot on the line. The mayor has a whole lot on the line. I mean, his whole mayorcy or whatever you call that, is we're going to make Osage Beach better, and here's how we're going to do it. So it's very, Mayor Harmison's made it very clear that he's behind this development. He's going to support this development. If that falls apart and falls through, he's going to look terrible, right? But if it follows through and gets done, he will look great. He'll come out shining. My guess is everything will work out, because again, this is pretty normal for big multi-million-dollar developments. Tegethoff will get the financing figured out and he'll get things paid. He's got bigger things coming, than this Nichols Apartment. He's got the whole Oasis theme park.
Correct.
If he can't do some apartment buildings, he's going to have a real hard time doing that big old theme park. So I think he'll do this with ease. It's a normal thing, but it's a good thing. The reason we're here is to let everybody know what's going on, because where these things go caterwonky is when everybody doesn't know what's going on and people start doing things underneath the carpet, and then it starts getting real bad.
I'm not so okay with that. The normalcy, though, of a multi-million-dollar developer from another city putting local contractors and business owners in the predicament that I would assume, without confirmation from them, that Thomas Construction is in and their subcontractors are in. Normal or not, it's not cool, and I'm not down with it, and I don't like it as a business owner.
Yeah.
It's alarming, because I know that stress of what they must be going through and feeling.
Sure.
And so normal or not, I don't like it, and I'm hoping it gets resolved.
Well, and it's so hard on the local people, that aren't getting paid, because then they have to try to scrimp through and get through the hard times until things get better, and hopefully they will get better. And it's not good. It's not optimum the way, but again, it's very normal that this happens all the time. So.
Sure, and we will keep you posted. I mean, I'm going to be going to the site to see if the gate is still closed in the coming weeks and trying to communicate with Mr. Tegethoff and everyone involved to try to get answers.
And I've driven by there several times. The lights are on in there, where they're building those apartments.
As of this morning, the gate at 9:45 was locked.
Wow.
And so there was, no entry. Now, they might not have started. They might have been taking the day off, but weather was great when we recorded this on Tuesday. And so after we record, I'll go back out there and see.
I was driving by there on 54 last night after our dinner, and they had the lights in the apartments they're building on, and they probably do that for security reasons, I'm guessing. So I just figured everything was going as normal, and apparently it's not. So it'll be interesting, and you do such a good job of keeping up and talking with everybody to find out what's going on, and so we'll continue to do that so everybody knows what's going on. I'm guessing everything will work out fine, but it's good that we can kind of hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah, and it's nice when guys like Jeff Tegethoff and Mayor Michael Harmison are so accessible and quick to reply, so we're able to pass on the information. Now, another local municipality, city of Lake Ozark, you might have seen a proposed new parking garage.
I did see that, yeah.
Put out over the weekend. It was actually Sunday. Lake Ozark Mayor Dennis Newberry posted to his Facebook page the following. You see his post right here saying, "Would you support public parking on the Bagnell Dam Strip? Shared parking solutions for the Bagnell Dam Strip are the future." And so he shared this rendering you see right here. And he went on to say, on a single undeveloped parcel, a public-private partnership could increase public parking on the Bagnell Dam Strip by 300 parking spaces and went on to say the Port Bagnall building shown reflects a new building designed by Midwest Coast that would host retail, office, and residential uses, and went on to say the city of Lake Ozark will continue to promote smart economic development opportunities. And this sounds great in theory, right? More parking, that looks awesome. The rendering, I mean, even if you misspelt Bagnall on it, there's 2 L's and only one. Interesting. We'll let that one slide. It sounds great in theory, and it seems to initially garnish a lot of support from locals. But I'd ask a few questions, Uncle Chris, like, what exactly is a public-private partnership?
Yeah.
That seems to be riddled with red flags.
Interesting, yeah.
Is it public or is it private? Or is it a partnership between public and private that public doesn't have to share information with public? I have those kind of.
Are the private people getting rich off the public tax money? What's going on with that? Yeah, that's a good question.
Weird term. I never heard it before. I didn't like it, and it was riddled with red flags as far as I'm concerned. Who would pay for this? When you say public-private, I would assume there's probably going to be TIFs or abatements involved.
Certainly taxes involved, yeah.
Plus, this rendering provided as a solution is from Midwest Coast. Well, I'm interested to know what is Midwest Coast.
Yeah, who's behind that?
Yeah, the company offering the renderings. And is it free? Is it pay to park? I mean, what exactly will it be? So the idea is great, but all kinds of questions. And how much does this actually cost the locals, and how much does this actually cost tourists when they come in? Now, locals also expressed some initial concern, like traffic control and road improvements. Presiding Commissioner Ike Skelton even offered, so long as it isn't government subsidized, sure, which I thought was important, you know, for our presiding commissioner to chime in at that level on the mayor of Lake Ozark's thread. And we had others that thought this might be a bad case of putting the cart before the horse. Now, I find out and believe that Midwest Coast is actually owned by Mayor Dennis Newberry, and the land that it's proposed to be on is also owned by Midwest Coast and Dennis Newberry. I believe that to be correct. And so it's my opinion, just my opinion, that by using his mayoral Facebook page to yield locals' interest in a project and gain support and excitement towards a project like this, while being so vague in details, is a serious conflict of interest. And I also would be interested to talk more with Mayor Newberry about this, because I will be honest, I've been a pretty big fan of Mayor Newberry. I think he's doing a great job. However, I think this was a bad move to put that directly on his Facebook page without giving us more insight. And if Midwest Coast is actually something owned by him and the land proposed for this parking garage is owned by him, while he's putting in terminology like public-private partnership, that to me is got a lot of smoke. And a lot of times where there's a lot of smoke, there's fire. And so I would invite Mayor Newberry on in the coming weeks to talk about this, because he's very active on that Facebook page and he does put a lot of different things on there. But this is something that I think a lot could agree. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that was the best move to put that on that page, and I think others are starting to become concerned.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because you've been Mayor Newberry's one of his biggest fans, one of his biggest supporters over the years. So yeah, this is interesting that we just, let's find out what's going on here. Again, it could be a great thing for the city, or it could be a bad thing for the city, depending on all the minutia, the things going on underneath. So
just interesting. The angle, the way it went about was just interestingly enough. And yes, always I've been a fan since he threw his name in the cap and beat Jerry Morawski a few years back. But I always think it's important for any elected official to never get too close, because in our role, it's incredibly important to stay non-biased and bring the facts. Even if you like the guy personally.
That's right.
Because that doesn't matter.
That is our job.
You are an elected official, and you are making moves on behalf of your constituents. And that's very important. As we move ahead, we're already out of time really, but man, there is so much going on this weekend and on Lake TV. Don't miss next week's show, because Roland Todd, the Camden County Clerk, is going to be on Cup of Coffee to talk about the April 2nd election. And listen, you can print out your sample ballot from the Camden County website, and that's important to do so you don't have any surprises.
There's a lot on here. You got to check it out. Propositions
from road, from fire to different schools. There's school boards. So look at that, whether you're Miller, Morgan, or Camden, or if you watch from abroad, from out of state in your local areas. Make sure you look at that, because that is so important, these elections coming up. And also, everybody's talking about, listen, St. Patty's Day, there's festivities all over. The parade has gotten bigger and bigger. So if you're going to attend the Lake Ozarks St. Patty's Day parade this Saturday, starts at 1, get there by 12, it gets crazy. But if you're not going to be there, you can tune in and watch on Lake TV starting at 1 o'clock on all Lake TV platforms, including the brand new LOZ app, our exclusive app. Super excited about that. Also, thank you guys for watching. Been a great week for us here at Lake TV. We'll see you at Dace Jam 3-on-3 basketball tournament Saturday.
Yeah, you're playing, right?
At the parade. Thanks for watching from Slumberland at the Lake.